On January 8th, Stephen William Hawking was born in Oxford, England.
Hawking was born on the 300th anniversary of the death of Galileo.
Hawking attended St. Albans School. He never got good grades. Despite that, his classmate called him Einstein.
Being interested in science, he wanted to attend university for mathematics. Acceding to his father's wish for him to attend University College, Oxford, Stephen decided to study physics since Oxford did not offer a mathematics degree at that time.
Hawking began attending Oxford, studying physics at age of 17. He was younger than other students, so he had a difficult time for first year and a half.
During his academic years in Oxford, he studied very little, about an hour a day.
In his last year at Oxford, Hawking began to exhibit increased bouts of clumsiness, and after a fall down from stairs, a trip to doctor yielded the advice, lay off the beer.
Hawking, now 21, was diagnosed with motor neuron disease or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis (ALS) that causes patients to lose control of their voluntary muscles.
Doctor gave him a life expectancy of 2 years. The average age of getting ALS is 55. He got it at 21.
Inspired by Roger Penrose's theorem of a space-time singularity in the center of black holes, Hawking wrote his thesis based on applying that theory to a much larger scale, the universe itself.
Hawking completed his studies and obtained a doctorate in philosophy in March.
His essays, Singularities and the Geometry of Space-Time, won him that year's Adams Prize.
Hawking collaborated with Roger Penrose, a continuation of his work on singularity theorem concepts proposed in his thesis. Their joint essay came in second place in 1968 Gravity Research Foundation competition.
Hawking's health worsens to needing crutches before finally he was confined to a wheelchair despite protest on his part.
Hawking discovered what became to known as the second law of black hole dynamics.
His essay, Black Holes, won the Gravity Research Foundation Award in January.
The large-scale structure of space-time, Hawking's first book is published. He also began research in quantum gravity and quantum mechanics, discovery that his findings contradicted the previously established second law.
1974, the results presented by him made him celebrity. Despite contradicting his second law, his findings shows that black holes emit a form of radiation. This radiation needed a name, and so we now have Hawking radiation.
Hawking was appointed to the Sherman Fairchild Distinguished Scholar Visiting Professorship at the California Institute of Technology, also known as Caltech.
Hawking was awarded the Pius XI Gold Medal for Science from Pope Paul VI.
Hawking was awarded an honorary doctorate from the University of Oxford.
Hawking returned to Cambridge, where he was awarded one of teaching's most renowned posts, the Lucasian's Professor of Mathematics. Established in 1663, the position has only held by 14 people, including Sir Isaac Newton.
At a Vatican conference, he presented work suggesting that there might be no boundary or no beginning or ending to the universe.
Hawking was made a commander of the Order of the British Empire, an order of chivalry established in 1917 by King George.
Hawking began work on what would become one of his most popular books, A Brief History of Time.
In collaboration with Jim Hartle, a notable physicist and professor at the University of California, they published a model known as Hartle-Hawking state, proposing that before the Planck epoch the universe had no boundaries in space-time, that there was no time before the Big Bang, as time did not exist before the formation of space-time. That essentially the concept of the beginning of the universe is meaningless.
While in Geneva, Hawking got pneumonia, which with his already worsening ability to breathe, became a life-threatening situation. As a result of required tracheotomy, Hawking lost what remained of his voice. A computer programmer from California responded to Hawking's need by developing a speech synthesizing program that could be directed by head or eye movement.
Hawking's book, A Brief History of the Time, is published. It sells 10 million copies and it translated into 40 languages. The book presented quantum mechanics, string theory, and the Big Bang theory in a fashion more accessible to the public. It is a massive hit and skyrockets to the top of the bestseller list in both the US and the UK.
A documentary about Hawking's life titled A Brief History of Time, directed by Errol Morris and produced by Steven Spielberg, premiered.
Hawking published a collected edition of his own articles, Black Holes and Baby Universe and other essays.
Having heard that he was interested in appearing on the show, Leonard Nimoy approached Hawking. And so in 1993, Stephen Hawking appeared as himself in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
A 6-part miniseries, Stephen Hawking's Universe, premiered on television in 1997. Hawking published a briefer history of time, an update and rewrite of his 1988 work, A Brief History of Time.
His disease-related deterioration continued and began to control his communication device with the muscles in his cheek.
Hawking and his daughter Lucy published George's Secret Key to the Universe, a children's book aimed at presenting the basics of theoretical physics in a manner appropriate to children. It would go on to have 2 sequels.
He went on a zero-gravity flight during which he experienced weightlessness 8 times and even performed some acrobatic maneuvers.
Hawking's health problems continued to worsen and could no longer drive his wheelchair independently. He continued to suffer from increasing respiratory problems, missing a conference in Arizona due to his chest infection.
Hawking participated in a trial for a device called the iBrain. The device is designed to pick up changes in the wearer's electrical brain signals, which are then interpreted by a special algorithm. Hawking said, "I wish to assist in research, encourage investment in this area, and most importantly, to offer some future hope to people diagnosed with ALS and other neurodegenerative conditions."
Stephen Hawking has appeared on numerous American TV shows, including The Simpsons, Futurama, and The Big Bang Theory.
And on Pi Day, that is 14th of March, also celebrated as Einstein's birthday, he left us all.